What is up, guys? Don't forget to subscribe. Check out my channel playlist for individual tutorials on logic, sculpting, animation, music, and more. Today we're going to be talking about how to make a sculpture from scratch. First, I want to tell you guys how you can actually turn a whole sculpture into individual pieces if you made your sculpture a whole sculpture. What you want to do is L1 and exit, and then delete away the parts that you don't need. So let's say we're trying to get the limbs of the base sculpture and turn that into the part we connected to. We will want to perfectly delete out what we don't need, maybe even blend tool some of it on there to where it looks better using the stamp. Go to the blend settings, enhance the blendiness, go back into that, make sure you're in the right mode when you do it. And making things look as perfect as we need to with the blend tool. And then what we want to do, exit out, then we want to save this as a new sculpture, search for it after it's saved, undo it, and then delete away the arms, and then put those arms right there where they should be. That's how you can separate sculptures. That way, if you need to use the joint and connectors to actually connect them to create a puppet, then you can. This is how you create puppets from scratch, a shortcut that I've learned. You can also use that with creating a puppet if you're just sculpting it off of this. Now, to get the settings for the joints and connectors, you'll just want to pull out a puppet and look at the settings. You're usually just using the ball joint, usually. But you can try using the other ones. You can one of these makes things more stiff, one of them moves in one line. This is the one you're going to be using the most. This is the one you're going to be using the least. You'll be using these the most too, but you can search. Some of these are tails for characters. You'll notice that the ankles are actually turned ball joints, I think, or they could be motor joints. One of these two, or it's out of these three. But it's turned to the side, as you can see, and that's how you get ankles and stuff, kneecaps, stuff like that. Now, I recommend you to sculpt off of this. I know this tutorial is about how to make a thing from, a puppet from scratch, but I recommend sculpting off of this because it's 1,000 times easier and there's nothing wrong with doing that. So let's say we wanted to sculpt a head onto here. What we would do is press L1 and X, press L1 and X, and notice whenever we try to delete it, we just are deleting the head. That's because the game recognizes that we are just sculpting off of that one thing. What you don't want to do is delete everything and then exit out of it, because then you won't be able to create a head again. The reason why I'm saying you should do it this way is because the joints and connections are already configured for you. If you wanted to make a four-legged creature, all you have to do is bend it and pretty much get it to where it's on four legs, and then you can just sculpt off of it to where you can L1 and exit and sculpt your heads, your stuff, and you might even be able to sculpt it to the side. You might not want to, because if you sculpt it over here, it can be hard to drag it into place. What I mean is, if you were to do that and you didn't delete everything over here, let's just try it. We have that there. So we can move this. We might be able to move it, but we'd have to make sure the proper things are deleted if we want to move it. And we can't properly move it like this because it moves everything. So you have to sort of start sculpting right here. Now, if you need to work with a bigger plane, I recommend sizing the puppet up. Sizing all the puppet up. And then sculpting your head. And then sizing it back down if you need to. You can L1 and X, go into mirror mode, and then do this. And then you can work with the arms. Delete the arms if you want to. And then sculpt arms like you would sculpt this kind of stuff. This right here is a method of doing it. There's a lot of methods of doing it, and this right here is probably the easiest method of actually creating characters, because then you don't have to worry about the joints and connections, which is not entry level in my opinion. That's not entry level, but it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. once you get the hang of it. And you can see other people's settings that they have for creatures that you may be trying to sort of do by searching on here. Like, you know, creatures with wheels, the settings for wheels, the settings for wrecking balls, the settings for all sorts of things. You could search for other people's props and characters in here and see the values that they put into the ball joints and stuff, what ones they use, just by searching it up in here, then applying that to your character. Now, you may not need to do that to make it from scratch. Like, let's say, let's go ahead and start this. Creating it from scratch, essentially what you're doing is nothing with the puppet interface. And you don't need a marquee, the purple thing, in order to create it from scratch. What you need to do is get all the joints down, all the joints sculpted, connected with connectors. You might need to connect it with connectors. And then you need to get your animations done, like your walk animations and stuff. Then you want to pull out your base microchip, or link the gadgets. Link this gadget to that. You can look up that tutorial, somebody has it, how to link this to sculptures, control sensor to sculptures, all that great stuff. Or do this and put all the logic in here. Now, you won't be using this. What you'll be doing, creating it from scratch, is just connecting the animations to this, the jump animation to the button. You'll have to figure out how to do single presses. I have that tutorial, single press, how to, you know, make it to where the game sees presses as this instead of this. So I have that tutorial also. If you need help with that, just ask me in the comment section or look it up in my channel playlist. And then you'll want to connect the animation to it and the proper logic that goes along with it. To make things move, you'll need to use the mover tool. The mover tool uses dimensions. This right here is 3D. That's why we only have 3 axes. So x-axis, z-axis, y-axis, 3D. And if we were to put things into the negative, it would make things move this way, so the opposite way, and make sure these things are at 0. So if you're moving on the x-axis, make sure everything else is at 0. It should work that way. Or you can probably, if it allows you to pick the direction of it, then you can mess with the direction by moving it around. It should just be a dot. And then pretty much, after you get everything done with the X, Y, and Z axis, what makes it jump and stuff, you want to apply the speed, which I've done here, the strength, if you want it to be a local space, all that great stuff. And this is what will make your character move. This is what will make your character move. There's other things you can use with it, such as the rotator. If you want your character to rotate like that, you'll have to mess with the rotate settings, which is similar to the settings that I have here for the mover. And the reason there's only 3 is because this is 3D, and in 4D, apparently we'd be able to see through things, kind of like how we're seeing the ball joints right here. But there is no 4D in real life, and if there was, it would make everything a lot more confusing. So like I said, the negative would make it go that way. So even if you added another axis in here, it just make it go a different way, which isn't 4D at all. And that's pretty much what that is. A lot of people, some people think 4D is time. There's a lot of theories out there, but for the most part, that's why we use these axes for games. And pretty much all the moving stuff will be the connectors, and all the moving stuff will be right here. You'll just have to apply these movement stuffs to the button presses instead of to an interface. The animations, you don't apply them to the puppet interface if you're creating it from scratch. You just apply it to the puppet. control sensor. So if we were to go in here and look at this, we would see all these animations. Then we would see this right here. Then we see the walk, and this is pretty much the base puppet animations, what makes it walk, run, and stuff. All that great stuff. Sometimes the animations will be connected to the puppet's interface, which you can do too, instead of right here. Let's see here. So as you can see, the animation is connected to the puppet interface right here. Oh no, it's not. Well, something's connected to something. For the most part, I've seen other puppets use this connected to, you know, the animations of walk, jump. But I guess Media Molecule's thing is just instantly built into the program. In a quick edit puppet, all you have to do is click this, and then you can mess with the jump stuff. Now, if you're creating it from scratch, you won't have all this other stuff to mess with. And you might want to turn the procedural walk off, these animation stuff off. If you're creating it with the puppet, you might not want to. You might like the animation stuff. But as you can see, it says you can turn it off, and it's most common to turn it off, both of these. If you're sculpting from the base puppet, that makes it sometimes to where it won't slide to the side. You'll also want to, if you're sculpting from the base puppet, make sure it's directly on this purple thing. You'll have to move it down by either pressing L1 and X on it first, then moving it down, or just moving it down. Essentially, these are the best ways you can sculpt and make puppets in Dreams Ps4. And this should be all you need to know. Sometimes you need to assign these to the body part whenever you're sculpting. You don't always need to. Like whenever you're doing it from scratch, you probably won't need to, which makes things easier. And for some people, it'd make things easier to just to sculpt it from scratch, in all honesty, after understanding a few things. For some people, they'll probably like the method of sculpting it off the puppet. I'm just saying all the methods in this video just because I want you guys to be able to, like, you know, completely understand everything. So whenever you want things to move in a 3D game, just make it to where it walks forward. This is the button that makes it walk forward. And if you want it to go backwards, you'll have to... I might have to make a tutorial for that. I don't have a tutorial for that one. You'll have to... You might want to use a motion, an angle sensor, a rotation sensor, combined with the controller, and then, you know, that'll tell it to move backwards if it's the proper variable, or a signal manipulator. It's something like that. I'll make a tutorial for it if you guys need it. And then the jump button's just the jump animation, and then making it going up with the mover. And to make things have gravity, like this thing, make it have gravity, you'll just have to put it on movable. It should instantly have gravity, but it won't unless you make it movable. And then you can mess with the gravity settings. And then pretty much this is what it looks like. This right here is an animation that I have connected to the left stick. I don't have a mover connected to the left stick yet, but this is pretty much, you know. And also you may need to connect this to this, to where then the axes are right there, as you can see them. Then the direction's right there. You might just be able to move the direction. And then the left stick, you might want to, you either do it like this or put it into here. I'll probably make a part 2 to this tutorial. I don't want it to be too long, but for the most part, we're getting it. You guys should be understanding. We're getting it. And let me know if you guys want a part 2 to this video. And then pretty much to get the camera, use a camera pointer. And then the camera pointer settings are pretty much these settings right here, combined with these settings right here, and then wherever you place this. At least that is what it is whenever you're using this. So just to let you guys know. And there is a way to make this camera follow also. So just look that tutorial up on my channel playlist if you need it. Or just look at the tutorial on YouTube. So as you could see, creating things from scratch, it's useful. It can be a little bit more difficult, but in some ways it's not more difficult, if that makes sense. You don't need this, or you shouldn't need it. You might not need it, but you definitely need this if you're making puppets. And you can have more than one of these also. You can definitely use more than one of these if you're creating puppets to control animations. So just to let you guys know. And L1 and square to get into these settings. Center of gravity, all that great stuff. And I hope this helps you guys on how to create things from scratch. You go ahead and play it. Let's see here. Mover's making it move, so. You might just be able to use an animation, in all honesty. If you're making it from scratch for right now, just use the left and right sticks to make it move for right now. But I guess you could just use an animation to make it move. If you have it on travel, keep changes on. Yeah, you could use you could just use an actor recorder to make it move. That's crazy. I think you can if you know how to use angle sensors and motion sensors. That's funny. That's funny. Alright guys. Alright. Let me know what you guys know about this in the comment section also. And I hope this helps you guys learn how to sculpt. I hope this helps you guys learn how to make characters. And I hope this guide helps you learn how to make things from scratch also. It's your boy. Peace out, peace out, peace out. And if you want to know how to make a health bar, just look up my health bar tutorial, how to make a health bar with a calculator. It's like the easiest way that I see to make a health bar. So if you need like how to do, you know, hitboxes, just look up my hitbox tutorial, how to make a hitbox. You're basically using the impact sensor to make a hitbox combined with the collisions. This is a hitbox. Combined with collisions and labels. That's all I'm going to say in this tutorial, otherwise it would be too long, but you should be able to understand it from that with the impact sensor. So I hope this helps, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, and peace out, peace out, peace out.